Started.
All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. I was just checking to make sure we have, so I can somewhat see everyone in the room. So is it Wayne, Steve, Stephen, and are all 5 of you in the room?
Yeah, perfect attendance.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's right. Alan is right behind Stephen.
Okay, because I couldn't see Alan, but I knew he was going to be in the office. Okay, good. Wow, this should be a monumental, we should mark this down.
Yep.
February 4th. It's our day to have the whole committee in. All right, so happy Thursday, everyone. I'm Jenny McCollum, the Director of Procurement Services for JEA and the Chair of the Awards Committee. I'd like to call the February 4th, 2021 Awards meeting to order. We do have a quorum with Stephen Datz, Alan McElroy, Joe Arfano, Steve Tootin, and Wayne Young, all present in the office. OGC is represented by Julie Davis, and Budget is represented by Lori Whitmer. Before we get started, I'd like to ask if there are any public comments based off of the agenda that we are presenting to the committee today. And I'll start with the in room. Is there anybody that has public comment? And I'm getting a lot of feedback. So if you are not speaking, will you please mute your line? Thank you. All right. So Lynn or Haley, do we have any public comments that came in via email?
No, we do not.
All right. And any public comments from anyone that has dialed in? All right. So no public comments for today. And on today's regular agenda, we have items 1 through 11, and they have all been reviewed by Procurement and by Budget and are ready for the Awards Committee review. We will review each award item individually, and then I'll ask for a motion to approve with a second, and then we'll roll call through the committee for approval of each award. So we'll start with the meeting minutes from the last meeting on January 29th, which was a Friday. Are there any comments or questions?
No, I'm sorry. This is Steve Tootin. I make a motion to approve the January 29th, 2021 meeting minutes.
Wayne Young, second.
Thank you. We'll start a roll call through the committee, starting with Steve Tootin to approve the minutes from January 29th, 2021.
Approved.
Wayne Young?
Second. Approved.
Thank you. Stephen Datz?
Approved.
Alan McElroy?
Approved.
And Joe Arfano?
Approved.
All right, award number 2 is a contract assignment. This is for JEA aerial duty vehicles. We have 10 aerial duty vehicles that are replacements for the energy, the electric side. And this is a contract assignment. So we originally did this out and it was approved by the awards committee in January of this year to VersaLift Southwest LLC in the amount of $1,901 or $901,176. In the process of going through the formal contracting to execute the contract after award committee approval, we realized that VersaLift Southwest LLC confirmed that the sale and the invoice for this work will be through Time Manufacturing Company, and VersaLift, I'm having a hard time. VersaLift Southwest LLC will be completing the installation and delivery only. So Time Manufacturing Company is an owned distributor, providing installation and maintenance services, and is one of the several companies owned distributor across the United States. So for the purposes of this assignment, Time Manufacturing Company will be completing the sale and the documentation for the JEA equipment, while VersaLift Southwest LLC will be completing the installation. So I'm going to open it up for questions, and my team's on the call to answer any questions that you guys have.
Yeah, this is Alan McRoy. I make a motion to approve.
Stephen Dad, second.
Thanks. Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award
Jenny?
number 2.
Jenny,
Yes?
I'm sorry, Julie Davis, Office of General Counsel. So I noticed that the award write-up says that the equipment will be purchased from Time Manufacturing Company, so that part of it, but that VersaLift Southwest LLC will be completing the installation. So is the contract, so it looks like the intent is only to assign part of the contract amount, or is, so who is the contract going to be with, and is it split out between, will the amount of the contract be split between these two companies and have two different contracts? I'm a little confused here.
Kenny, I'll go ahead and
No.
let you jump in. I know you've had conversations with David on this one.
Yeah, Time Manufacturing is going to be completing all the performance of it. They're going to be invoicing everything related to the purchasing of this. They'll just sort of be doing Time Manufacturing, I guess, will conceptually be subcontracting out to VersaLift Southwest LLC to just sort of be performing some of the work itself as regards to delivering the vehicle to JEA. But for the purposes of this agreement and all the funds related to it, Time Manufacturing Company will be the one performing it. We will eventually, at some point in time, be working with VersaLift Southwest, most likely for the performance of maintenance and things along those lines, given that they're the local area. I think there's actually a VersaLift Florida as well. So just one of those corporate structures where they have different subsidiaries and sort of different sister companies that perform different functions, and the actual purchase of a capital asset going to go through Time Manufacturing Company.
Okay, so they will be subcontracting to VersaLift for the installation services.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Kenny and Julie. Any other questions? All right, we've got a motion to approve from Alan McRoy and a second from Stephen Datz. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 2, starting with Alan McRoy.
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
Joe Arfano,
Approved.
Steve Tootin,
Approved.
and Wayne Young.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 3 is a contract amendment. This is for our 3-phase transformers that we carry in an inventory. There are 20 different 3-phase transformers, with their primary application being to change values of the 3-phase voltage and current. The awardee is Gresco Supply in the amount of $963,507.01. The expiration date on this contract is March of this year, 2021. And this is basically just a contract increase and to increase the value. And just as a note, since inception of the original agreement, one factor has played into a shift in spending relative to projections, driving the proposed contract increase. Estimated use for the 20 contracted items to date is about 12% higher than what we had originally forecasted and attributed by project requirements related to new development work. So I will pause and ask if there are any questions for this contract amendment to increase the amount to Gresco Supply. All right, can we get a motion to approve award number 3?
Joe Arfano, so moved.
Wayne Young, second.
Thank you. A roll call through the committee to approve award number 3, starting with Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Wayne Young,
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
Alan McElroy,
Approved.
and Steve Tootin.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 4 is a contract increase. Again, it's another contract amendment for the same type of inventory. It's the 3-phase transformers. We also carry an inventory on this contract. Wesco Distribution Inc. is our awardee, and it includes 12 different of the 3-phase transformers. This is an increase, and you'll see it has the same expiration date, so we are in the process of bidding all of this out. So this is a contract increase in the amount of $76,706.73. And I will pause there and ask if there's any questions on this contract amendment.
Jenny, this is Stephen Datz. I think your not to exceed number is about $100 lower than it should be. And that would be
Okay.
Referenced on page 4, 47, and 48.
Thank you. I will have my group check that math and
Okay, thank you.
fix that error.
And Jenny, did you say that the total contract is for, it's Joe Arfano, total contract's for 12 transformers?
Yes, so the one with Gresco, they had the low bid on 20 of the different types, and Wesco Distribution Inc. has 12 of different types that they were
Yeah, I
low
just
bid
did the
on.
math, and it's in the same ballpark. It would put 20 of them at 950,000, which is relatively
Well-
close to the other bid. I just wanted to put a relative value on it compared to the prior award. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, it's so these are for 12 unique items. It's not particularly 12 transformers themselves.
Okay.
It would just be there's unique items that are contracted to one vendor, and as we need to buy those transformers, we would then be buying them, and the contract value would be consumed up as those are needed to be put into the warehouse.
Understood, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, can we get a motion to approve award number 4?
Wayne Young, motion to approve.
Steve Tootin, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 4, starting with Wayne Young,
Approved.
Steve Tootin,
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
Alan McElroy,
Approved.
and Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 5 is a joint project. This is for Palm Avenue water main replacement. Scope of work is to replace 2 water mains. The first water main segment recommended for replacement is approximately 700 feet with 8-inch cast iron water main along Prudential Drive. And the second water main segment recommended for replacement is approximately 1,100 feet of 12-inch ductile iron water main along Palm Avenue, which crosses under I-95. JB Coxwell is the recommended awardee in the amount of $1,311,847.50. We estimate this project to be completed in April of 2022. We had, and I'll just, for some background, this is a joint project with the City of Jacksonville as permitted by Section 3-116 of the Procurement Code. The water, and we had pretty good competition. So the City of Jacksonville bid this out, and we had 3 bidders. And you can, what we do for when we do a joint project is we go overall low bid for both portions of the project for the city and for JEA. So you'll see that JB Coxwell was slightly higher than Superior Construction, but the overall bid total was less if you look at the full award amount. When you look at the bidder table, So I'll pause and see if you guys have any questions about that, and that's pretty standard for how we do our joint projects. It's rare that our portion is higher than, it usually coincides where they're both low for our portion and for theirs, but when we bid it out together, the joint project, they bid it out with the statute and they go low bid. Do you guys have any questions on that?
Stephen Datz, motion to approve.
Alan McElroy, second.
Thanks. Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 5, starting with Stephen Datz,
Approved.
Alan McElroy,
Approved.
Joe Arfano,
Approved.
Steve Tootin,
Approved.
and Wayne Young.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 6 is a contract amendment, and this is for our FY 2021 Cisco equipment and support purchases with a 1-year support contract. So the Presidio Network Solutions LLC is the recommended awardee in the amount of $301,945.48. This contract ends for the original term on May of 2021. And just as a note, we do have 2 1-year optional renewals that we may utilize if we feel it's in the best interest to do so, and we feel that this contractor is, this vendor is, performing well and getting us what we need from our equipment standpoint. The original scope of work, just as background, is to buy equipment and support purchases of JEA's estimates to purchase during the 12-month period as we originally had estimated. And this request is to leverage the contract spend for a minimum of the 1 year to get the fixed prices and the percentage discounts. And so what we're finding, we still have a little bit of time left on this contract, but this request is to purchase 4 replacement servers and components for additional capacity leveraged by the mobile platform infrastructure high availability footprint. This was not originally estimated in the competitive bid, but it does exceed the 61% off Cisco list price for the contractual discount for servers, and it meets the 20% off Cisco list price for the server support. Any questions or comments on award number 6?
Jenny, this is Stephen Datz. I missed this one while reviewing, but on page 65, it is showing 2020, should be 2021 at the very top.
I'll catch you on that. I don't know if I see what you're looking at. I'm sorry.
The date
I don't.
at the top of the award.
Next to award number 6.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The date of the actual award. Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other comments? We will make that update.
Steve Tootin, motion to approve.
Thanks, Steve. Can we get a second?
Joe Arfano, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 6, starting with Steve Tootin,
Approved.
Joe Arfano,
Approved.
Alan McElroy,
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
and Wayne Young.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 7 was an invitation for bid. This is for the purchase and installation of generators for JEA lift stations. Zabat Engine Services, Inc., doing business as Zabat Power Services, Inc., is our recommended awardee in the amount of $549,082.90. We expected this project to be completed by September of 2021. We had 3 bids that we received, with Sabat being the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. Are there any questions on award number 7?
Jenny, Joe Orfano, I didn't see in the write-up, maybe I overlooked it, but are these generators replacing generators that we had previously leased? That were,
No,
that were storm related, or is this something completely different?
hey Joe, this is Oliver. So these
Yeah,
are not replacing any previous generators. What this is basically this is part of the resiliency program's effort to make sure that critical lift stations have appropriate backup power. These are actually these sites were actually requested by the treatment folks to get backup power because they feel that these are either critical lift stations or there's a deficiency there for that needs to be tightened up. So these are brand new generators.
Excellent. We're meeting with the rating agencies beginning next week, and this is good information to have, Oliver. That's helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Any other questions or comments? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 7.
Alan McElroy, motion to approve.
Joe Orfano, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 7, starting with Alan McElroy,
Approved.
Joe Orfano,
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
Wayne Young,
Approved.
and Steve Tootin.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 8 is a rescind. This is for production well drilling, and it's part 1 of Rivertown Water Treatment Plant project. We received 3 bids. We went through the process. We advertised, we opened, and 3 bids were received. And after bid opening, JEA was made aware that the bid workbook and the technical specifications were in conflict concerning the well flow testing requirements. And so the technical specification required 1 test total, and the bid work book required 1 test per well. There's 3 wells on this one. And we went through a informal CPO protest on this and reviewed all of the information from both Sawcross and Williams, and even Petticoat was on the call. And JEA we just didn't get it right this time, and it was too difficult for me to make a decision based off of the meeting and what we heard and the way that the workbook was set up to really determine who was low bid. And so in fairness to the process, my recommendation to the protest was to rescind this and rebid. So I'll ask if you guys have any questions about that. All right, can we get a motion to approve award number 8?
Stephen Datz, motion to approve.
Wayne Young, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee, starting with Stephen Datz,
Approved.
Wayne Young,
Approved.
Alan McElroy,
Approved.
Joe Orfano,
Approved.
and Steve Tootin.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 9 is a bid, invitation to bid, and this is for Circuit 692 replacement. So our recommended awardee is Marmon Utility LLC in the amount of $1,752,499.49. This project is expected to be this project is expected to be completed in July of 2021. There was a goal for JSEB for 10%, which they met. And this just is some additional information, the scope of work. The contractor shall perform like the permitting, the duct bank, raceway, and manhole structure installation, cable removal, cable supply, cable installation, MOT, termination, and testing. This has to be energized no later than May of 2021, with the project completed no later than July 30th of 2021. We received 3 bids on this. And as I stated, Marmon Utility LLC is the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. Do you have any questions or comments on award number 9?
This is Stephen Datz. On page 95, second paragraph from the bottom, just revise the approximate estimate from 13 to 15%.
Okay, we will make that change. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Can I get a motion to approve award number 9?
Steve Tootin, motion to approve.
Alan McElroy, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 9, starting with Steve Tootin.
Approved.
Alan McElroy.
Approved.
Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Wayne Young.
Approved.
And Joe Arfano.
Approved.
All right, award number 10 is another invitation for bid, and this is for Beaver Street Patrol Road Construction Services. The low bidder and recommended awardee is Superior Road Services, LLC, and the amount of $766,637.16. We are expected project completion in July of 2021. We had a JSUB goal of 10%, which they exceeded at 15.6%. We had quite a bit of competition on this one. We received 6 bids. And just as a note, the work was bid on a lump sum basis, and the bid price N includes the 10% SWA, which is and this includes 3,600 cubic yards of demucking material removal, and a unit price cubic yard is provided if additional material removal is required. So just to be clear, Rodney, for this one, we've got the 10% SWA included in the bid amount, but we're not including that in the award amount?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to be clear on that. Are there any questions or comments on award number 10?
This is Stephen Datz. Page 103, the approximate estimate should be 43% lower.
Man, Rodney, I've never seen this happen before. 2 and 1. We'll check those more closely next time. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Were you basing that off the bid amount and not the award amount? Yeah. I wonder if he was basing off the bid amount versus the award amount when he did that. Did those two totals. Yeah, that's probably what happened. That his typically Rodney's are right on. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right, can we get a motion to approve award number 10?
Alan McElroy, I move to approve.
Stephen Dat, second.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 10, starting with Alan McElroy,
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
Joe Arfano,
Approved.
Steve Tootin,
Approved.
and Wayne Young.
Approved.
All right, last award, award number 11 is an invitation for bid. This is for the purchase of trailer mounted pumps. So we're purchasing 7 6-inch and 2 8-inch trailer mounted pumps to meet resiliency requirements. The first recommended awardee is Amco Pump Manufacturing, Inc., in the amount of $391,433. And our second recommended awardee, Power and Pumps, Inc., and the award amount for that company is $175,664. We are expected these to be done and delivered to us September of 2021. And as we, you can see, we broke it out when we bid this out, and we had quite a bit of competition on the 6-inch pumps, and I'll let the business talk about the low competition on the 8-inch pumps. But when determining the awardees, we looked at each pump individually and went low bid on each one. Is there any comment, Dan or Joe, on the low competition from the 8-inch pumps?
Jenny.
Hey, Jenny, this is Joe. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
Just the feedback that we got is that these 8-inch pumps aren't very common to put on trailers. It's a much larger operation, much larger fuel tank and everything, and it's just not something that's terribly common. So we didn't get a lot of, as you can see, we didn't get much competition on that.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? All right, can I get a motion to approve award number 11?
Steve Tootin, motion to approve.
Joe Arfano, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 11, starting with Steve Tootin.
Approved.
Joe Arfano,
Approved.
Wayne Young,
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
and Alan McElroy.
Approved.
Thank you. All right, so we have reviewed all of the award items individually, and each of them have been approved. So the entire agenda for February 4th, 2021, therefore, is also approved. And is there any other business to come before the awards committee?
Jenny, this is Stephen. On page 2, award 2 on the agenda should include the amount of the award for consistency. That was the only one that didn't include the amount.
Okay, I'll look at that.
Okay.
And Jenny, this is Wayne. I do have a question, and maybe just seeking a little discussion on award number 5. It's on page 57. Not the award itself, I approve it, and it's good to go. However, in reading it, reviewing it prior to the meeting, I did have a question as to why you were not going with the low bid, and you stated that we generally do go with the overall low bid. But just for discussion and question, clarity for me on any future such bids, there's not an egregious difference or delta in what the JEA portion of the low bid is as opposed to what we approved. However, is there some degree of, I guess, measure that's used to determine when it's in JEA's best interest for us to support the JEA low bid of the portion of the contract instead of the overall low bid. And just looking at this, even if we were to, and I'm not saying we would do this ever, but if we were to augment the overall bid that came in for our low bid, we would still be paying less than we would be if we went with the overall low bid that was approved. I'm just looking for some clarity on what guidelines are in place to ensure that when we have egregious situations where there's a delta that the overall low bid may be lower, how do we handle that?
That's a great question. And typically when we do joint projects, we're doing that to have the joint participation, so we share in some of the cost, or typically JEA would pay less if there's a project going on that the city is doing, where a portion of our work needs to be done, and where we would just be replacing our portion of work, and they would cover, for instance, the road work and other things that we typically would have to cover if we did that out on our own. And so we look at that overall. I'll let the business specifically on this one comment if there was anything else, they want to add to kind of confirm the difference between the low bid and then what we would save, or what we are saving bidding it out with the city versus doing that on our own.
Okay.
Jenny, this is Dan. I can
Go ahead, Dan.
So I don't have the exact figures, but the numbers that you see in the estimate for that award do not include any MOT or resurfacing or digging anything of Palm Avenue, because that's already a project that the city has going on, and that's one of the reasons why we do joint projects, is to save that money. If we were to look at the bid and say, our portion is higher, we have to compare that to what it would cost if we did the entire project on our own, like Jenny was saying. And so in this case, we're still saving money because we don't have those other costs. We don't have those project management costs. We don't have the resurfacing. We're not paying for that. We don't have MOT. And this particular project is MOT is extremely critical because it's right in front of the hospital and it leads directly into the emergency room. So that's a rather large factor in this particular project. So that's something that we do evaluate, even though it doesn't always work out in our favor. As far as the low bid, we have to look at the overall picture, as Jenny was saying.
Okay, that helps. And in the award estimate, is that estimate based on just what our portion of the work would actually end up being, or does that estimate include what we would anticipate we'd have to pay if we were doing this unilaterally? And in this case, the estimate is even lower than the actual bid price.
Yeah, typically it's just what we're bidding out is how we prefer to present it to the committee.
Okay. Yeah, I support joint projects 110%. I know the advantages associated with it, but just for I guess informational purposes going forward, it'd be good to have some point of reference to codify what would be acceptable and what would not be acceptable with respect to us going with the overall low bid versus what's best for JEA's situation. Or JEA's
and I'll comment on that too. Our award estimates, as they are getting better, and some different processes are in place to put those together. They are just that, they are estimates, and it depends on what percent, if we have design, done for that project and when they estimate versus being further along in a design piece for them to have a more accurate estimate. So I don't know when this award estimate was put together, but it is a great point to point out when you see that, and especially if it's above our award estimate. But award estimates can vary for sure, depending on when they're put together.
Jenny, Wayne brings up, it's Joe Arfano. Wayne brings up a great point. And that award estimate looks pretty close to the higher overall bid component. You said it's pretty rare that JEA's portion turns out to be more when you have a lower bid. But I guess to the earlier question, it would be helpful if, I assume that estimate is for a joint bid, but to validate paying 150, whatever that delta is, it would be helpful to get an estimate for what it would cost JEA to do the project on its own, don't you think? I assume that.
So let's
award
ask the
estimate-
business. I don't know if Arthur is on and can comment on the award estimate total versus the award amount and what was included.
Because the comments said, well, the $1.3 million is still competitive relative to doing this project on our own, but we have really no way of validating that as an awards committee.
So we did get a proposal from DPR Construction, August 2019 to do this as a standalone project. And it was, let's see here, 1.5 million. And that wasn't including a lot of stuff like geotech and contaminated soils and a few other things. There were a lot of exceptions. So maybe compare, and that was over a year ago, so prices have increased. So 1.5 million back in 2019 to 1.3 today. We are still saving money.
Excellent. Thank you, Arthur.
And Jenny, just
real quick, Arthur. So the award estimate for the 1.1, how was that determined? Was that how long ago was that done? And can you provide a little bit more information to the committee on that?
Yeah, the award estimate kind of pulled out all the MOT and stuff that was no longer associated with just a standalone project, like project management and all that. And I think this was done. I got to take a look at the date of it's pretty recently, but I think that we came up above that because we added a couple of special technical specifications in the bid at the last minute. So that came up so we can coordinate the Prudential Palm Avenue intersection at cross street where it leads to the emergency room, and also the rerouting of the water main underneath I-95.
Okay, which wasn't included in your award estimate either.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Julie, go ahead. I'm sorry, I heard you asking a question.
So that's okay. I was trying to locate, and I apologize for not being able to find the exact language right now. I believe that the JEA charter speaks to JEA and the city of Jacksonville working together whenever possible on joint projects that will, be to the benefit of both Duval County citizens and JEA customers.
Oh, we lost you.
And
she probably can't hear us. Julie, you're breaking up.
do its share of the requirement. I can provide the more specifics later if people are interested, but I think that plays into this decision as well.
So we only heard about the first few seconds of that. I'm sorry. You were breaking up the whole time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. So what I was saying was that I'm having trouble finding the exact language, but I believe there is a provision in JEA's charter that talks about JEA and the city working together on projects of this type and the intent is to avoid, disruption of traffic for the citizens of Jacksonville, JEA's customers. If JEA were to have to come in later and tear up the roadways again to do its work, there's a lot of efficiencies that are created of a positive nature, that's the intent behind this, that the work is coordinated, particularly when it's going to be a disruption to traffic and those sorts of things. So I think that plays into this as well. And I can provide the specific language later if anybody's interested in it.
Yeah, no, we agree. It is in the charter, and for all those reasons and others that we've talked about, and I think the committee also, it sounds like they're in favor of doing these joint projects, and it's good to have this discussion. It is rare. I mean, we do look at it every time to see if it's low bid for JEA versus our portion not being low bid, and I think I've only seen it maybe 2 or 3 times where it's come in higher, which is why I wanted to make that comment. It's just not very often where ours comes in higher overall than if you look at, the overall bid. Usually they're both low.
All right, thank you for the discussion on it.
Absolutely.
I'd like to add, Jenny, Joe Orfano again. I have the privilege of sitting on the Better Jacks Finance Committee and Project Committees, and there's a great spirit of cooperation between the city and JEA, and John Pappas does a terrific job. So I just wanted to point that out too. There's tremendous value in these joint projects.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Any other business to come before the awards committee? I'll just say, Stephen, if you are on loan, we'll take you on the procurement side from a editing standpoint.
Audit.
It's sunshine law. I can't just send you the information.
I know. It's all right. It's just a good reminder of which committee members dig in and really read every single detail, which we are very supportive of. And just our constant, doing these every single week. It's a good reminder for our group to make sure that we're checking all of the details to every level. So we appreciate you catching those things, and we will continue to try each week to make sure you don't have any comments. It's now our goal. So I appreciate everyone's time. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Be safe, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.